Hello, damnation. It is Tuesday. It's only Tuesday. And America, not looking good ahead of Donald Trump's joint address to Congress. We are going to cover so much today. Let me not even waste time with a preamble. Grab your coffee, your cocktail, your tea, whatever gets you through, because today is going to be a doozy. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Danielle Moodie Show. Hello, damnation. Let us begin because my, what a week it has been. I mean, we ended last week with the threats of World War III. This week, we're in an economic trade war with our allies. I have never seen a better graph than this. I didn't even know this kind of thing exists. I'm not a business person, but when I went on CNN, to go check out, where the market ended today when the bell rang and closed at 4 p.m. The fear and greed index. If this is not the proper title of an index for America right now, if this does not capture the sentiments of where we are, right? Like how we got here is literally this index right here. So here it has, right? So apparently, this fear and greed index tells you what emotions are leading the market, right? And you see this little scale right here where it says extreme fear, fear, neutral, greed, extreme greed. I mean, have you ever seen anything so exquisite? So, where we find ourselves as the market closed down again and has erased all gains that it created after Donald Trump's inauguration, where are we being led by? Extreme fear. The market is terrified because you see, these people who voted for Donald Trump, many of them, the Wall Street hedge fund guys who fed his campaign coffers and said that he was going to be great for the economy because they were going to get an extension on their bloated tax benefits and tax cuts. And so that's why they wanted Donald Trump back in the office. Well, they thought that, he was just bluffing when it came to this tariff war, that he was just going to put more pressure on our allies to, do their fair share and build more industry inside of the United States. They didn't think that he was actually going to go through with it. They thought that he was just bluffing. And so here we have it that they realized that midnight, right? At midnight last night, that the tariffs went into effect. And Donald Trump, in fact, was not bluffing. And so, bada boom, bada bang. Where do we end up today? Dow falls by almost 700 points after Trump's tariffs threaten a dangerous trade war. Oh, no. He has not threatened a trade war. He has begun a trade war.
So we're going April 2nd, but very importantly, tomorrow tariffs 25% on Canada and 25% on Mexico, and that'll start. So they're going to have a tariff. So what they have to do is build their car plants, frankly, and other things in the United States, in which case they have no tariffs.
I mean, when you really think about it, it's absolutely astonishing, right? Like, we are how many days inside of this administration? I think that we are a little over 40 days, maybe 42 days. And Donald Trump has absolutely imploded our economy in record time. Record time. I guess you should get an award for such things, because this is what's being reported by Rupert Murdoch's Wall Street Journal. The hefty tariffs imposed by the Trump administration could contribute to not a recession, friends, a crash in the global economy, similar to, wait for it, the Great Depression of the 1930s, said Andrew Wilson, Deputy Secretary General of the International Chamber of Commerce, according to the Wall Street Journal. Quote, "Our deep concern is that this could be the start of a downward spiral that puts us in 1930s trade war territory." Now, again, not a business major, right? Math was not my strong suit. History, politics, English was. Left brain, you know? But the thing that I do remember very clearly, the 1930s depression. I remember learning about people jumping out of their windows, committing suicide because they've lost everything. They lost their house, they lost their jobs. Um, it predicated World War, right? Not a joke at all. He wasn't bluffing. And now, I don't know if any of you have 401ks, but if you looked at them today, I'm pretty sure they're terrifying. And, everyone is saying, right? Elon Musk told us that Americans will have to endure, he said, some necessary hardship, some austerity. He didn't offer to float us all a couple of $1 million, which he could absolutely afford to do. They haven't built anything other than a facility at Guantanamo Bay. So they're actually not doing anything other than sitting back, creating meme stocks and different meme coins and watching the rest of America's life savings go down the tubes. And then, today, Justin Trudeau, outgoing Prime Minister of Canada, who has shown himself to be in fine form as he is exiting, speaks directly to the American people today.
Now, just like I did a month ago, I want to speak first directly to the American people. We don't want this. We want to work with you as a friend and ally. And we don't want to see you hurt either. But your government has chosen to do this to you. As of this morning, markets are down, and inflation is set to rise dramatically all across your country. Your government has chosen to put American jobs at risk, at the thousands of workplaces that succeed because of materials from Canada or because of consumers in Canada, or both. They've chosen to raise costs for American consumers on everyday essential items like groceries and gas, on major purchases like cars and homes, and everything in between. They've chosen to harm American national security, impeding access to the abundant critical minerals, energy, building materials, and fertilizers that we have and that the United States needs to grow and prosper. They've chosen to launch a trade war that will, first and foremost, harm American families. They've chosen to sabotage their own agenda that was supposed to usher in a new golden age for the United States. And they've chosen to undermine the incredible work we've done together to tackle the scourge that is fentanyl, a drug that must be wiped from the face of the earth. So on that point, let me be crystal clear. There is absolutely no justification or need whatsoever for these tariffs today.
And what's funny here? I mean, none of it is funny. So I don't mean funny, haha. But what's interesting here is that when you listen to Republicans who are going on cable news, they are saying that, well, this is necessary because of the flood of fentanyl that's coming in from Canada. The percentage of fentanyl that's coming from Canada is negligible. This is solely about trying to bankrupt Canada's economy, trying to harm Canada's economy in order for Donald Trump to annex Canada as the 51st state. Again, folks, this has nothing to do with safety. This has everything to do with Donald Trump going after areas, whether it be Greenland or Canada, that are richer in minerals that are going to fuel the race for AI, which requires certain types of minerals that we don't have. It's why you can go back now to Friday's absolute embarrassment of a meeting in the Oval Office and Donald Trump's once again quid pro quo for Ukraine. Oh, you know, we'll protect you, but you got to do us a favor though, which is open up your mountains, open up your caves, and give us all your minerals. That's what they're doing. All of this comes back to greed and theft. All of it comes back to extraction. One of the reasons, let's connect another dot, why they are waging war on public lands in the United States, lands that have been designated as public lands and parks, firing park rangers, is because they are going to chop down the trees in order to make the lumber that they are no longer going to be able to get from Canada, that is now going to be taxed at 25%. They are going to frack and drill in our protected, pristine public lands because these vampires see nothing when they look at our majestic land of America except what they can take. So when we see these things, I just want folks to connect the dots that all of this is going to fuel the AI race. That Donald Trump has pledged $500 billion we're going to be spending because we're going to bankrupt social safety nets that don't even make up half of our GDP. It doesn't even matter. But we're going to steal from the American people in order to fund the ability for Elon Musk, Bezos, Zuckerberg, and others to be able to get their government contracts in order to beat the AI race. And we're going to do it by badgering and trying to bankrupt our allies, bankrupting grandma and grandpa's Social Security and Medicaid, gutting public lands, because they see themselves, folks, they see themselves as the 21st century explorers. Sometimes, like, when you listen to these stories about the kind of libertarian but very twisted patriarchy, toxic masculinity ideology that fuels Silicon Valley, it is based on this idea that they see themselves as the next titans, the titans of industry, these new explorers that are going to recolonize the globe so that they can extract just like their forefathers and offer absolutely nothing. When Trudeau said that Donald Trump's election was supposed to be about the new golden age of America, no. That's what they said, but they used the wrong G word. It was the new gilded age of America that was based on greed, deregulation, extraction, hyperpollution, and capitalism. It's like what is old is new again. Make the Great Depression great again. And all of this happening so that a few people, 1% of the population, can hoard more fucking wealth. It's astounding.
Canadians are not angry at the American people for this. We don't have anything against Americans. Americans are our neighbors, our friends, our partners. We do things together. We've done things together for decades and generations. This is a policy decision by the American government designed to go after the Canadian economy.
And here's where we are on this Good Tuesday. The Dow tumbles again, loses more than 1,300 points in 2 days as Trump ignites trade war. So all of the lies that were spread by Republicans about the Biden economy that was up in November and December and the beginning of January, all of those gains have been eroded in 40 some odd days. Can you imagine? Because I can't even wrap my mind around where we're going to be in June, let alone by the end of the year. But here is something, because Donald Trump at one time did offer some good advice when he posted this back in 2012. If the Dow drops 1,000 points in 2 days, the president should be impeached immediately. I couldn't agree more. But alas, that's not going to happen, because tonight, as he prepares his joint address of Congress, because it's not called a State of the Union when it hasn't been a year or whatever, a year or 3 years. It's called a joint address of Congress. He's going to tell the American people that everything is great, that all is well. Don't you worry. It's going to be fantastic. After they literally spent the day watching as their phones blew up with alerts, basically saying that we are headed not towards a recession, friends, but towards 1930s style Great Depression. Now, folks have been asking me today, oh, Danielle, are you going to be going live during this joint session? Absolutely fucking not, because I am not watching. I will watch the clips and read the bullshit transcript if I'm able to decipher what he says. But for my personal mental health and well-being, I don't need to have somebody lie to my face for 45 plus minutes. I'm good. I understand those that are interested in doing that, but I say, oh, I don't know. Spend your time doing anything else, watching paint dry for all I care. But I refuse to give that motherfucker any ratings whatsoever and my attention whatsoever. I'm certain the alerts will be going off. But my God, if you wanted to watch Hitler's speech, just like type it into YouTube. Because all he's going to say is a mix up of the same bullshit that he has said since the beginning. I'm getting rid of the rape gangs. I'm getting rid of the blacks. Women don't belong in the military. The trans who are taking over our towns, I'm getting rid of them. English only, even though he can't seem to put together a full, complete sentence that makes sense without somebody sane washing it for the rest of us. Ah, the trans, the gays, the blacks, the women. Ugh. Like, that's what you want to listen to for 45 minutes? And then he's going to go on, I'm certain, and please don't drink during this, because I don't want you ending up in anybody's emergency room with alcohol poisoning. I know back in the day, people used to love to do those bingo cards and like take a shot anytime, the president said, the health of the nation, you take a shot and then just be like twisted at the end. My God, if you were to take a shot every time he's going to utter trans or illegals or whatever, you'll be drunk, like, certifiable in the first, 5 minutes. So please save your livers. That being said, the question for me was, people are asking, well, what do you need to know about Trump's address to the joint session of Congress? Please don't waste your ink. What do you need to know? What have you ever needed to know? That he's going to cut down our public parks, that he's going to deregulate industry and make pollution great again, that he has started a trade war with our greatest allies, that he is going to announce that he has rescinded all funding and support of Ukraine, and we're going to watch Europe fall to Putin. Folks, we are, look, I work really hard to try and provide some clarity, some analysis, and not just abject rage during these days. But my goodness, I can't ingest the types of lies that Donald Trump is going to tell. And frankly, this is, reported by NPR. Trump has launched a blitz of action since taking office. That's one way to put it. And Tuesday's address will offer him an opportunity to tout his agenda. What's the agenda? Destruction? Today, I called him a hurricane wrapped inside of a tsunami mixed with a little Sharknado. Maybe in a pariah too. Nothing but chaos. Nothing but mayhem. Tout his agenda of what? Destroying people's lives that over 200,000 people have applied for unemployment because they have been kicked out of their jobs and livelihoods, that Europe now recognizes that we are no longer not only not their ally, but that we are an enemy? Like, what a part of his agenda is he touting? And this is funny because a new NPR PBS news poll, right? The poll found that 53% of respondents think the State of the Union is not strong. And 54% say the country is headed in the wrong direction. When have you ever seen these type of numbers this early in somebody's administration? Like, honestly. Usually, and this is true for Democrat or Republican, that usually your first 100 days is your honeymoon period. People really don't start digging into what you're doing and whether or not it's affecting their lives for like 6 months. Not only is Donald Trump's approval ratings down, but people think that now, 40 some odd days into his new regime, that the country is headed in the wrong direction. But my question is, 80 million of you people voted for him. I saw a post today, and I know that you can't believe everything that you read, but I saw this post, and this business guy says, yeah, I voted for Donald Trump. I thought that the tariffs were just a bluff. I didn't realize he was crazy enough to go through with it. What? You didn't think over the last 9 years that Donald Trump has been around on our screens, on our phones, in our lives, in our heads, that he was crazy enough to go forward with what it was that he said that he was going to do? But the thing is, once again, what does this come back to? The 80 million people that voted for Donald Trump thought that he was only going to hurt the people that they don't like and don't care about. Kick all those poor people, right, off of SNAP and welfare, right? Get rid of all those free and reduced school lunches. Do you remember there was a Republican who said they should learn young that there is no such thing as a free lunch? This is coming from Nepo babies. You telling people that there's no such thing as a handout, and all you've ever done is have your hand out. They're in the position that they're in by virtue of like the fortune of their birth. Not because of some type of merit that they like to tote around. So one would say then, all right, bet. We know people are riled up. We know that Donald Trump is unpopular right now. So who are the Democrats going to get to offer their rebuttal? Who's going to give our, we have words to say. It's going to be somebody tough. It's going to be somebody we all know. No, it's not. It's going to be a freshman senator out of Michigan. To be fair, Elisa Slotkin, Senator Slotkin, won her district, I think, by 15 points. She did outperformed Vice President Kamala Harris in her district. But to the point that was just made, who is Slotkin again? Why her? Yeah, well, those are very good questions. So let's figure out together why Democrats chose this unknown. Senator Slotkin will deliver Democrats' response to Trump's speech. The Michigan Democrat, a first-time senator, is expected to lay out the economic and national security stakes of Donald Trump's agenda. We already know them. In Miss Slotkin, 48, I'll give them that. She's at least young-ish. Democrats have chosen a relatively young woman who is fresh off of a victory in a competitive race in a critical presidential state. Wait for it, folks. If I could underline this, I would. So the question was, why did they choose her? Why her? She is a center-leaning Democrat with a strong national security background. She worked as a CIA analyst and in national security posts in the White House of Presidents George W. Bush and Barack Obama. And her entire political career has been defined by Mr. Trump. Ms. Slotkin first won her House seat in 2018 as part of a tight-knit group of Democratic women with backgrounds in the military or intelligence who were recruited to run as a counterweight to the president. So why was she chosen again? Because she is a center-leaning Democrat. And the Democratic establishment thinks that the response to extremism, to erosion of our civil liberties, to the smash and grab job that the MAGA coup is doing on our social safety nets, our democracy, our public lands, they think that the response to extremism should be what? Moderation. Don't believe me? Take a listen.
I may disagree with the president, but I respect the office of the president. And, you know, I'm probably not going to be jumping up applauding a lot, but I owe him his due as a president to lay out. And if he'd come in and done things like, the president's made great progress on border crossings. That's something we ought to celebrate. But basically declaring economic war on Canada and Mexico, and to see the price effects at the same time that we're walking away from the traditional support for democracies around the world, that's not about lowering grocery prices. I believe President Trump got elected because of the border and trying to lower prices. On the border, I give him good marks. On lowering prices, I think you're going to see the absolute opposite over the next 30 days.
Yeah, let me just.
Oh my fucking God. I am not going to be jumping up and down, but I respect the office of the presidency. You respect the office of the presidency while he is disrespecting the foundation of democracy? You want to celebrate what he's doing on the border, so you think that throwing mothers and fathers and children into Guantanamo Bay is the kind of action on the border that we needed? You think that criminalizing the very people who are the foundation of our economy, you want to give the president, quote unquote, Senator Warner, high marks on that? Folks, I have never in my life felt more alone and more abandoned by a political party than I do with Democrats in this moment when we are literally fighting for our fucking lives. To have the audacity. We are here. Why? Because Merrick Garland respected institutions instead of doing his fucking job. Because had Merrick Garland respected democracy and went after Donald Trump from the day that he was appointed, Donald Trump would have even had the opportunity to declare his candidacy again because he would have been in courts. being found guilty. But no, Merrick Garland waited how long? Damn near 2 years, giving Donald Trump just enough time to announce his candidacy and then make it seem as if it was what? A political witch hunt instead of accountability. After everything that we have seen, for Mark Warner to sit on television and talk about respect for the office, and for Democrats to turn around and believe and offer up to the American people moderation at a time when they are looking for ferocity. They are looking for leadership. And this is what Democrats are offering. Oh, no, friends. It gets worse. I swear to you, okay? Everybody take a deep breath before I put up the next slide, because I swear it may send us over the edge. We're here together. Just hold on. Yes, worse. Democratic lawmakers, according to New York Magazine, are expected to communicate their opposition to Donald Trump during the president's joint address to Congress on Tuesday night by color coordinating. Like, literally kill me now. Democrats plan to protest Trump's speech by what color, folks? Wearing pink. Wearing pink. And this is not The Onion. Like, it's not. This is New York Magazine. They think that the response in this grave moment, their big idea, was color coordination. And so hear me out. Hear me out for a moment here. Because we could have made this something, right? Like, we could have hear me out. You want to send a message, right? Everybody wear fucking black. Everybody, right? Wear black and a veil. I want you to dress like you are going to the funeral of democracy, because you are. And I want you, if you are going there, right? I want you to wear black, funeral black, like no white at all. Black shirt, black jacket, black dress, black veil, black tights, black gloves, black, 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 black. I want you to potentially, if not a veil, wear a black mask over your mouth, right? To showcase that freedom of speech, civil liberties are dead. I want you, when Donald Trump is gavelled in, to stand up in mass as everyone else is seated and turn your back. But Democrats do not believe in protest. They don't believe in action that makes any goddamn sense. You're gonna wear pink? What the fuck does pink illustrate? That's about as helpful as those little pussy hats that people were wearing at the Women's March. Folks, color, okay, can convey a lot. But pink That's your action? Oh, and I hear that they may have little noise makers or something to that effect. Astonishing. Astonishing. But before we get into today's Town Hall Tuesday, so get your questions ready. Town Hall Tuesday, for those of you that are new, is the last 15 minutes of the show. I take questions, put question in capital letters, and I will do my best to work through them. But before I get to the Town Hall Tuesday, let me just leave you with this. This is from The Onion, but it might as well have been from the New York Times. Democratic leaders stand real still in hopes no one notices them. And I will tell you, folks, no one is. Because you're not doing a fucking thing. Lord Jesus, I don't know if you're a praying people or a meditating people or a sitting in nature people, but we need to conjure some type of spirit because this shit is not it. All right, folks, let's get into Town Hall Tuesday. All right, it is Town Hall Tuesday, so do put your questions in the comment section with the question typed out large in all caps so that I can see it. Question, Ernie. Will it take Musk declaring himself monarch CEO of America to get Americans to act, or are we just a passive, cowardly country? Well, Ernie, I'll say this. A couple of things. While mainstream corporate media may not be carrying this, actions are happening every single day. You know, there was a die-in on Capitol Hill. There was actions being taken in Vermont. There are the Tesla showroom protests that are happening around the country. 5501 movement is organizing. Indivisible is organizing movements. And so it is slow, right? It's a slow build. But my belief is that by the time spring like actually hits and summer actually hits, it's going to be wild in America. It is going to be very wild. And so we shall see. We shall see. Question, who came up with the plan to wear pink? They need to get some phone calls from all, but I don't know. I don't know whose idea it was, but whoever it was a terrible fucking idea. And I just can you imagine that meeting like being like a scene out of Veep? Like, guys, we need to do something. Well, what if we all just dress alike? Well, okay. What color should we do? I don't know. Pink. And then everyone's like, that's it. That's the color of strength. Idiots. Question, now what? That is funny. And then also question, what the fuck? Y'all, what the fuck? Y'all, it's up to us. It's up to the grassroots. It's up to the people to organize. I continue to say, national boycott, rolling boycotts through industries, like all the teachers stay the fuck home, all the nurses. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there has to be like action, coordinated action that is going to hit the economy, that is going to showcase the power, because like these Democrats, they are not it. They are not organized. And like this, if the world's eyes after Friday are on America, and you think that the response to that is picking a milquetoast moderate to combat fascism and then wear a coordinated outfit? Mm-mm-mm. Not it. Question: what does damn in damnation mean? It's my initials, actually. Funny enough. I think that my parents knew that I was going to be a firecracker from birth. So my name, Danielle Ann Moodie. Damn. So damnation it is. And just so folks know, because I always see this in the chat too, people continue to spell my last name wrong, even though it's written everywhere. It's Moodie, not Y. Okay, no Y. But funny question. Good, good, good. Question, Samara. If, and that's a big if, Dems get their shit together, do you think we can have a fair election again, or will Russia/Muskrat be a continual threat in our elections? You know, I'm going to lean on big if. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not quite so sure that the last election was fair, right? I also don't think that if Democrats actually thought or knew that there was manipulation in the election, I actually don't think that they would have done anything, because they are too busy wanting to preserve the institution and the perception that all is well rather than actually making it well. So do I think that we have free and fair election again? I don't think so. I really don't. I think that it's going to be a sham. And this is why I'm saying folks have got to get a grip on where we are so that they can understand where we need to go, because we are not voting ourselves out of fascism. That's not how this is going to roll. It's just not. And I know that that is a hard truth to swallow, but it is the truth nonetheless. Can I be on the new abnormal? I don't know, Nick. What would your topic be? And for those that don't know, The New Abnormal is my podcast with one of my favorite co-hosts, Andy Levy, at The Daily Beast, which comes out every week, Tuesday, Friday, and on Sundays. What should our new party's name be? That's like asking what color we should coordinate. I don't know, but it needs to be something that is like bold. Do you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Let's noodle on that. Other folks answer in the chat. What should the new party's name be? I am getting really frustrated with being a Cassandra, Danielle. How about you? You know, I have spent my life trying to tell people the truth, and I realize that you have to want it, right? And some people don't want the truth because the truth is really hard. It's much easier to be lied to. That's why Donald Trump is, currently the president, because people wanted to believe the lies that he was telling them, that they weren't going to ever have to work for a better life, that it was just going to come. You just needed to move some people out of the way that you didn't like, and then everything was going to be roses and glitter. But we tried to tell you, right? Tried to tell everyone where this was going to be headed. And now all of a sudden, folks want to sit around and start crying and talking about, what about the veterans that have lost their jobs? And, one of Trump's lawyers said today, maybe they didn't deserve those jobs. Like, she legitimately said that. So, do I get tired of it? Who doesn't? Yeah, I do not know who came up with the color pink tonight. How do we save ourselves since we're on our own? Very good question, Lori. And this is something that I continue to say on this show and every show that I have. We have got to go back to old rooted ways of building out local community. We have got to be the ones, because the government is no longer going to be taking care of or caring for the masses. So you have to do what you can in your community. What does that look like for you? I said today, and I forget where, because I talk everywhere all the time. But apparently during World War II, this is just an example, but apparently during World War II, people grew resistance gardens, right? Where they were growing food to distribute in their neighborhoods, in their town, because people were struggling, right? You could not afford anything because of Great Depression. So what if your form of resistance is gardening? What would it look like to teach other people how to grow, right, their own essential vegetables? What would it look like to develop and build out a community garden, right? In order to help feed people, help teach people how to feed themselves, right? Like, what if we really started to think about community care again? We're losing, right? They are dissolving our public education system and erasing real history, real critical thinking. What does it look like to run a tutoring program, over the weekends that is on a specific subject that you may think that young people need to know about, that they're not going to get at school? So think about what your skill set is and what offering you can provide to your community, and start doing that and see how that grows. It does not need to be huge, big actions that we are taking. I know that the moment is so big, but our response can be these small things that we are doing that then collectively become a huge response. Because my thing is that when people are working overtime to pit one another, pit us against each other, right? Then our response should not be going into our silos and, just hoarding. It needs to be about a doubling down and an investment in community. So what does that look like for you? Those are my thoughts. Good question. Does anyone have any metrics/impact info from this past Friday's boycott? I don't, because while the markets, right, were tumbling because of also the fear of World War III, couldn't really see what the impact was. But what I did write on my Substack, which if you have not gone over and subscribed to my Substack, please do, the Damn Digest, is that while one day is a start, we have to remember that the Montgomery bus boycott lasted 13 months, right? That was 13 months of consistent, diligence and action on behalf of Black people to disrupt and break down a bus system, right, that was taking their money and then trying to take their dignity as well. And so a one-day action, while is a good start, we need sustained action, which is going to cost people things, right? It's not going to be easy. Black people were walking to work in all types of weather. They were carpooling, right, with those that had cars. But they were committed to the action that they were taking. And so I just say that to say that it is going to require more than just one day of action. Those, again, my thoughts. Question. Continue. Experts who identified the telltale Russian tale that happened in Putin Russia. Why don't you trust the Dems on this? I don't trust the Dems on anything. I really don't. I think that Democrats know damn well what is happening, and they are too chicken shit to say anything and to coordinate any type of action. I continue to ask, where are all of our past leaders, military leaders? Everyone is just like, oh no, it's not my time to speak. And I'm like, if not now, then when? I don't, I don't understand that. If not now, then when? Let's see. Looking for more. This is a question. Do you think he'll direct martial law soon? So here's my thought, and this is what I continue to say. Spring and summer in the United States is going to be wild. Why? Because it's warmer. Why? Because kids will be out of school. Why? because there are going to be an increased amount of actions that people are going to be taking, because it will now have been months into this austerity regime. And my fear is that the spring and summer going into the fall are going to be violent. And what Donald Trump wants is an excuse to declare martial law, is an excuse to unleash the military on the American people. And so we have to understand that. I continue to tell people all the time, I'm not telling people, I largely, honestly, I'm telling people of color, Black people, not to protest, because we're always their target practice. And we're always the ones that are beaten, that are killed more so than anyone else. Right. So I think that it is time for white people in mass to take to the streets. And not wait on Black folks. And that's what we are seeing. That's what we are seeing at these Tesla takeovers in, places like Iowa, in Vermont, in these places. And that's what we need to see, because I think that white folks in this country, it's past time for people to get angry, right? And not wait on the marginalized groups to be the ones that are on the forefront. But my fear is that you use the excuse of Black bodies, right, in order to cause the most amount of harm. So I think that white people need to take collective action if, in fact, they are going to be in protest. Those are my thoughts. Oh, that bullet points list you put up yesterday about the moderate. Oh, it was at Politico. It was at Politico. If you go to politico.com or go to Google and put in third way, and put in third way moderate Dems meeting, and then put in Politico, you'll get the bullet points that I put up on yesterday's show. Or just go back to yesterday's show and screenshot it. You could do that too. All right, couple of more questions. Question, Gus. If Europe builds up its defense capability as a result of Trump's foolishness, how will American military contractors respond if they don't get the money rainfall? Right? Shit rolls downhill. Everybody was expecting, right, who voted for Donald Trump, that everyone else was going to be harmed, but not them. He's not going to hurt me, right? He loves me. And yeah, people are going to lose money, right? Like, this is what is going to happen. So, they don't get their money rainfall. I don't know. Fuck them. You guys ask me this question all the time. Danielle, why don't you run for office? Because I am not electable. You can literally Google things that I have said and look up I do not mince words. I am not fit, right, for the kind of towing the line. I'm not a company girl. I speak truth to power. And so I don't run for office. I run my mouth. I help other people run for office, though. And that's my contribution, but I do not. I have zero desire to run for office. And last question. Edward Morris. Do you think Donald Trump's criminality will lead to a new constitutional convention? You can never say never, but it requires a lot to call a constitutional convention. But then again, what is the rule of law when the country is being run by bandits who are ignoring judges' orders? So, I have no idea. Only time will tell. Folks, as I said, I will not be live watching the State of the Union. I'll probably be on Blue Sky. I may put up a post on Substack. So again, if you follow me and subscribe on Substack, you may see something pop up. I'm trying to take care of my mental health. I really just want a martini right now, which is like not appropriate at all, but I kind of want one. Because it's already been a week and it's only Tuesday, and I would like a dirty martini. But I appreciate all of you. Thank you all that provided donations and super thanks and super stickers today. Like I said, this is independent media. Every dollar that you send goes a very, very long way in helping me be able to build out the kind of content that you all deserve. So I appreciate each and every single one of you. As I always say, if you are unable to provide, monetary resources, please just like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell in the corner so that you get notifications, but like, comment, subscribe, share on all your social media platforms. This show goes up right after I hit end. So, please do that. I will be back here tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern, for the Danielle Moodie Show. So please do come back. And as always, power to the people, and to all the people power. Get woke, stay sane. And in these extraordinarily dangerous times, dear friends, do stay safe. Is this from New Zealand, Sue Street? Holy crap. New Zealand in the house? Is that what NZ is? That's amazing. It's amazing that you all are watching from all different parts of the world. It's wild to me. That's why I love doing this. Oh, Sue, she says yes, New Zealand. Way, yay. That's amazing. Thank you so much. All right, folks. If you're gonna watch tonight, do not drink every time he says illegal or trans. I do not put yourselves in the hospital. Be well, and I'll see you all tomorrow.